Good afternoon and welcome to the Beyond College Web Series. I'm Lynn Thompson. I'm the strategic advisor to the commissioner of the Mid-Eastern Athletic Conference, known as the MEAC, and we're honored to partner with our teammates at Wells Fargo to bring this Beyond College Web Series to you. Today, we're at the halfway point of this series, episode number 6, as we focus on the particular topic of securing and protecting the bag. Are you ready for this? Because we certainly hope so. This is designed simply to drop a ton of knowledge on you. And as always, we've got a team of pros lined up to share this info with you to help you navigate forward. That's what we do. And that's what this partnership is all about. We literally have an all-star team working to make this thing happen. Some you'll see and hear from, and some who will simply stay in the background, working behind the scenes, directing the show. People like Angel Heyman, Wells Fargo meeting and events planner, Randy Brent, Dominique Garcia, also from our MEAC team, who you may see later on. You see, none of this is possible without them. And you'll meet Dewey, our moderator, and this month's panelists on screen in just a few. But as always, Wells Fargo continues to roll out a lineup each month of their top pros in this space who drop in simply to show their expertise with you. No other partner does what they do. Why? Why do they do it? Because you simply deserve it. You need to get this info straight from the whale, so to speak, and they know how to deliver it to you. So, okay. We're almost ready to jump into the content of episode number 6. But before we do that, let's talk about the MEAC. Here's the 411 on our great league. You'll see it on the screen. Officially known as the Mid-Eastern Athletic Conference. Our corporate office happens to be located in Norfolk, Virginia. Now, we're a consortium of 8 of the greatest HBCUs in America who are aligned by mission and vision. And for over 53 years, we've been on the job educating young people. Now, we're formed as an athletic conference. We compete at the Division I level of the NCAA. Check this out. We're only one of 2 HBCU Division I conferences in the nation. And we sponsor 14 championship sports as a league. You know what we do in football. We've been rolling in the HBCU National Championship game, better known as the Cricket Celebration Bowl, in the ATL each December. And we're going to do it again this fall. But most recently, we held our annual MEAC spring meetings at Disney World, hosted by another corporate partner, Disney on the Yard. And our year-end celebration featured all of our sports awards. I mean, the men's all-sports award went to Howard University. And the women's sports title went to Norfolk State. So congrats to the Bison and the Spartans, respectively. And what a great weekend as we wrapped up our sports year in grand style. And Wells Fargo was on the scene with us because that's how we roll. You see, each month we feature one of our great MEAC institutions. And today we're going to take a look at the bare facts of Morgan State University, brought to you by their famous mascot, Benny the Bear, who is all about the business. Check him out, y'all. He looks like a Wells Fargo exec, doesn't he? So Morgan, founded in 1876 in Baltimore, Maryland, as a centenary Bible institute. The Bears joined the MEAC in 1970 as one of the founding members of our league. And they boast over 125 academic programs, with a graduation rate of 78%, enrolling over 7,600 undergrads and about 1,500 grad students. Its top 2 majors happen to be business administration and mass communications. In a little over 2.5 months, the Bears and the Hampton Pirates are going to kick off our fall football season at Hampton University. You know who's going to win that one. The Bears will. And so now that you've gotten a look at one of our great MEAC members, now let's meet one of the great ones from Wells Fargo. And oh yeah, by the way, the MEAC has a vast array of corporate partners. but Wells Fargo was named as the MEAC Corporate Partner of the Year. And they've got a go-to guy for enterprise HBCU strategy and external engagement. And we hung out with him recently in Orlando at our spring meetings. Happens to be my good friend and brother, Dewey Norwood. I call him Woody. He's going to take it from here, but I'll circle back later on to handle the Q&A portion. What's up, Dewey? It's your show.
Mr. Thompson, what a great open, as is your custom, and an amazing time down there in sunny Florida. Full programming, great engagement across our mighty 8 institutions, and a really great time. So again, yeah, as you said, huge shout out to the Disney on the R team and the great stuff that they're doing, and their corporate partner of the year. They were 2023's corporate partner of the year, and here is Wells Fargo 2024. So we're just trying to follow suit. Mr. Thompson, listen, we've got a serious topic here today, the securing and protecting the bag. We've also got some senior leaders that are going to be able to share some good information and have that Q&A going. And so everybody, thank you so much for being on. And again, Mr. Thompson, thank you for getting us running. You got my information there, the QR code where you can scan to connect in. From a Wells Fargo perspective, let's get to the numbers. $1.9 trillion in assets. 10% of the small businesses here in the U.S. in some way, shape, or form are connecting in with our institution, serving tens of millions of customers from a global perspective across all of those areas. You can read more about everything from our corporate investment bank to our wealth and investment management group and others that are all connected in across our Wells Fargo lines of business. As we disaggregate the data even further, we jump to the next slide. Let's talk about our significant strategic investments. The language on here is very intentional, team. These are strategic investments that our firm has been making in higher education students. You'll see the higher education groups that we connect and work with today. Many of those constituents are on the lines with us participating. So thank you to our scholars that are joining across these different groups and partners. If you disaggregate that data, we are now above $40 million of strategic investments, specifically in historically Black colleges and universities, a significant number and a number that we hope will continue to rise and increase in the days ahead. The next slide is actually a spotlight, one that we touched on last month as well, but I want to remind folks of the great work that's happening around the Game Plan platform. Would encourage everyone, jump out on the website, take a look at this new partnership and engagement that's happening between Bridge Athletic and also the Game Plan platform. And for those that aren't familiar with Game Plan, this is that financial literacy platform that is available that we're rolling out to HBCUs and to other institutions as well. So get in contact with us, catch up with Cecil Burrows or Addie Craver and the team, and they can share more about how we can deliver this content specifically for your audiences or for your institutions or for the HBCUs that we know we're connecting in with. Hey, you know, we got to spend a minute about some products and services here. Quick commercial for our HBCU Legends debit card program. Virtual show of hands, how many folks out there are Wells Fargo customers today? I want to just take a quick look and see what's coming up on the gallery. Okay, so it looks like we have some opportunities here with this, right? Seeing hands go up. Remember, you can customize your banking experience by selecting from the HBCU Legends debit card collection. So we actually have 40 different institutions that are connected in here. We've got 4 of our bowl games and classics that are connected in as well. You'll see us in a number of these spaces when the fall rolls back around. And we really love the brand marks that we've been able to make here in celebration of HBCUs. And listen, Mr. Thompson, we've got a really special one here that's on the next line. This is that mighty MEAC card that is there. So step in with us, support the mighty MEAC nation, and get connected in with that HBCU Legends debit card. And again, if you're a banking customer, you can customize that banking experience free of charge to be able to get connected in there. Mr. Thompson, with that said, we're going to go ahead and bring on Mrs. Rondane Ware, who is joining us literally from the road today. And I'll let her share a little bit more about this. But as her background reflects here, team, she is an executive director in our Elder Client Initiatives area. She's going to talk more about that. Within Wells Fargo, she lives in and within the Wealth and Investment Management Group. And so we've got a subject matter expert on who's going to talk to you. We're going to talk really plainly Professor Ware, as we're gonna call you today. Can we keep it a buck? Can we make sure we're having a real kind of conversation?
Yes,
And
we
let's keep
will.
this, and this is also a safe space. And a final item, team. Remember, the Q&A feature is open for business. If you drop something into the chat, we will certainly see your name and information there. But if you present a question, we will not, do not ever read your name out on the broadcast. But just know, as those items come in, as we engage here, we may see things in the chat, but use that Q&A feature. Drop a question in, second the emotion of some of the things that you're hearing, and then we will make sure that we continue the dialogue in a really great way. So, Rondane,
Yes.
it is time to bring you on, and
Thank
let's
you
get
so
into the
much.
pieces for today. Yes, ma'am. Take it away.
Yes,
Take it
thank you
away.
so much. So I am today streaming to you from Minneapolis, Minnesota. I am attending and presenting at their Elder Justice Center here, educating others about fraud and scam and how to personalize these kind of investigations. So I took a little time during the conference to go into a secluded breakout room to have a conversation with you all. And I'm very excited to be here. I feel honored that Dewey invited me. I really want to share some information with you all to really help equip you to protect the bag, as you so call it, from the scammies out there trying to get what you got. So let's dive into it. So the thing that I have, as you can see, is I manage a team of individuals for a team that's called Elder Client Initiatives. And what do we say? What are we thinking about? What is importance here? Well, I want to tell you what is happening today. So there's an increased number of older adults that are aging, right? And for the first time in a very exciting way, where people would retire at 65 and basically die at 70. Well, that's not happening anymore. People are living to be 100, 90, 80, and very actively. And what we see, according to the US Census, is that by 2030, there will be more 65-year-olds than there are 18-year-olds. Currently, there are more 65-year-olds than there are toddlers. So definitely the area, the environment is changing. What we also know of that segment, those who are 80 and over have about 70% of the US financial assets. That is a lot of money to be known. And the other thing that the scammers know is that older adults have, what do they have that many of the young individuals may not have, or younger generation may not have? And that is time and money. They have time on their hands to entertain individuals, chit chat, have conversation with people they don't know, and they have access to money, whether it's a pension plan, a retirement plan, or Social Security. So it's really important to note that, because this is where that we see a biggest part of scams happening. So how do these scammers work? Well, they work with emotional tactics. Here are some list of ways in which they try to lure people. And what they use is urgency, meaning that, oh, something has happened, a dire, that we need to act really quickly. They use emotional tactics, meaning intimacy, confidence, relationships that everyone is online, older adults are online, you're meeting people online. So they utilize these forms of communication, but really it's emotional tactics, whether it's fear, romance, elation, saying that you won a prize that you didn't buy a ticket for. But these are some of the common things that they try to do. And these are the words that they use. Most importantly, urgency is in every so those situations. So what is out there? Well, here are some clear facts that we've gotten. So we see $9 billion. That is a lot of money. Okay, the total losses that the Federal Trade Commission said that the United Nations has lost is $9 billion. Of that $9 billion, it's just comprised of a small number. Those are people who actually call and report it to the Federal Trade Commission. Many people don't even know what the Federal Trade Commission is, that they can report scams to them, or what they do. But the ARP, if you're not familiar with, they're the organization that individuals, when they turn 50, become a member of. They compile the FBI total number of losses, along with the Federal Trade Commission losses and their membership. And they say it was more like $28 billion. Okay, when you think $28 billion, that is a lot of money. And that is just a small fraction of what is actually leaving the country. The younger adults have higher rates of being defrauded, but older adults have a lot of money to lose. Then we look at the next chart here of all the different types of fraud and scams that are out there. What I want to say to you is, as you see investment, lottery, online shopping, imposter, we're going to go a little bit more deeper into that later. But at the end of the day, what they do is they want to steal your identity. That is the ultimate goal of fraudsters, is to steal your identity, because that is where the money is at. All of us are affected in fraud differently, as you can see in this chart here. Based on your age group, tells you how the means of payment that they're going to ask, how they're going to ask you to send the money, and then the method of contact. For young adults, it's social media. That is how the primary way that these fraudsters work to contact. As you look at the chart here, as you go further down the chart, you see that 80-year-olds are still sending cash and check. Well, the challenge here is when you send us something in the check in the mail, your account number and your routing number is on there. So if anyone steal that check, whether it's to pay a bill or send a check to a friend, they can take that information and utilize it to steal access from your money. So it's really important that we really try not to use checks anymore unless extreme, because we can know that what they call check washing, when they steal your check, write someone else's name on it, and then cash it in another state, that is happening quite frequently. Older adults are still sending cash. If you are familiar with, there's a recent incident that happened a couple of months ago where an 81-year-old Ohio resident shot an Uber driver, thinking that the Uber driver was working for one of these extorting criminals who was scamming him. And so when she came to his door, he shot her and killed her. And now he is going to jail for killing this individual, but he thought that she was the scammer because they were asking him to send cash in the mail, send cash and have delivery people come and pick it up. This is real and is happening today a lot of times. Even now, these scammers are trolling online. Their new method is an online career or job placement places. So you think you're going to a normal online, you're looking for a position, and you get an email. They ask you to download the application. That seems kind of legit. Not so. When they ask you to download something, they're going to put malware onto your computer. Be very, very careful in what you put into your computer. But these are the key things to note here. You know, cryptocurrency, using legitimate sources. If you are going to invest in cryptocurrency, make sure that they are regulated by the SEC, the Security Exchange Commission. But realize that these scammers are really working effectively to really steal your money. The number one scam is tech support scams. When someone calls you and say, hey, you know, your computer is compromised, there's been a virus, and they pretend to be a legitimate source. They appear, have MSN on their email address. They may even have, you know, not only MSN, but any other reputable corporation, but you have to validate all the ones you utilize. So when it comes to malware being placed or viruses on your computer, you want to make sure you have antivirus software on your computer, that you keep those updated, they use legitimate sources. When somebody sends you an unsolicited email, that you make sure that you verify it, don't respond, delete, delete, delete. That's what I say. Anyone who sends me an email, sends me a text, don't recognize it, delete. I don't do that. Older adults tend to have more time on their hands and more willing to entertain, you know, those kind of messages. Make sure you just encourage others to just delete. Imposter scams, that is prevalent. Pretending to be the IRS, your bank, health. Now we know that people are spoofing phone numbers. So it may look like Wells Fargo on your identity, but it really isn't. It may look like your doctor, but really isn't. Or the IRS or SSA, Social Security Office for your older adults, but it's not. And so verify anything that you get. We're just not in an age where we can trust the caller ID any longer, because we know that those things are being spoofed. One of the things I tell people is put contact numbers, all the key people that you speak with, log them into your phone and give them an identifier. Like my son's name is Zachary and then my last name is War, but I don't save his name as Zachary War in my phone. I save his name as Zach's son. My daughter, her name is Tessa. I save her as baby girl. So that when I get a phone call, I know that this is the number that I logged into my account. So if someone calls me and says Zachary Warren it, I know it's not my son, because that's not how I saved his phone number. So it's really important that we do these things, take these extra measures, because that is how these individuals, and our information is everywhere. I mean, on public records, randomly do a search with your name and your number. or just your name and your last name, and you'll find all this information about you that is available, and they'll use those things to piece them together. Or they'll go onto social media and see who your contacts are and pretend to be them. So it's really important for us to share that information. Banking postures is really important. If something reads Wells Fargo, you need to verify that it is. Just a couple of weeks ago, I got a call. It said Wells Fargo, my caller ID. They said that my account was compromised and that they need to clear it up. They wanted me to give them my account number. And I thought, hey, you Wells Fargo, why would I need to give you my account number? Immediately delete, hung up on the phone, because I knew that it was not them. Use the number on the back of your card or on the back of a paper statement to verify that this is indeed Wells Fargo before you answer anything. Just what I say is just hang up. Do not share your password, codes, anything with anyone on the phone. Even if they say they're Wells Fargo, ask them to call you back. Or you better yet, you call them with the number that you know. So what's at risk? Of course, most importantly is our information is at risk. That is the number one thing that people are trying to do to steal our money or steal our identity, because then they can go out and get loans. They can go out and get credit cards. They can go out and purchase things. Yes, that is the most important thing. So using secure websites are important. Keeping patches on antivirus softwares. Don't download attachments that you are unidentified. Make sure that you don't click on things, and tell other people to do the same, because right now our identity is really crucial. Refund imposters are nothing that's happening. Purchasing online. We're all purchasing online. We're all buying things online. But making sure that when you're buying something on Facebook Marketplace, identify the people, have an actual conversation with the people, because a lot of time these purchases that you're doing online, the way that these refund scammers say, oh, I sent you $20,000 instead of $200. Fake. Not true. Not true at all. So be really careful as you're conducting business. Don't trust phone numbers on your phone when it comes to those things. Use a customer service line from an official website to make sure that it's truly who you're speaking with. Review your account activity on all of your accounts. Amazon, especially your statements. That is one thing I say is you should always look at your account statement, because sometimes these scammers, they will use a small dollar amount, like $1.50, to just to see if indeed that you will catch it, and then they will apply for more money from there. So do not let anyone have control over your computer, your phone. Angel and I were talking the other day, and she was saying the new scam is that someone will say, someone's begging on the street, will say, oh, I really need some money, but I have a Venmo account, because we don't carry cash anymore, right? So they'll say, well, can I get your phone? I'll give you my Venmo or my Cash App information. Do not give your phone to anyone. As quickly as, within 5 minutes, they would have gathered information about you. So be careful what you do. Here is a sample of some letters that my clients in Texas that we've seen received from people. Random UPS is sending you something, or USP, which you think is United Postal Service, but look at the HPTP address on there. That is definitely not the post office. So really be detail oriented as you're conducting business online, because these scammers are working quickly. Lottery sweepstakes scam, that is still happening. It's number 4 on the category with the Federal Trade Commission. Still number 4. First of all, if you didn't buy a lottery ticket, you didn't win anything. Okay, you need to actually purchase a lottery ticket to win one. This is so big that the Publishers Clearinghouse actually has within their website a section for scams and fraud to verify if you're receiving something that is actually from them. So be really leery when someone says that you won the lottery sweepstake. It's like, what lottery? Did I play a lottery? When did I buy a lottery ticket? Did you buy a lottery ticket? What does the number say? Ask more questions. Verify. That is really where we are right now. Romance, of course, number 5. All of us are engaging in relationship, meeting people on social media, identifying people. There used to be this song, and I'm dating myself, in Vogue, where it says, give me something that I can feel. So if I can't feel you, don't know, you can't touch you, you got to be a little leery of it. And if you want to share money with people, if you want to give them a gift, send them flowers, send them an Uber meal or something, rather than money, right? Ask to meet the person in person, in a public place. Have a friend come with you, watch. But, slow down the development of relationship. There shouldn't be an urgency for marriage and money if you only known them a short time, right? So just really identify those things. Like I said, be careful when you're interacting with individuals. Don't provide them personal information. You can have a relation with a person, never give them your social security number. You can have a relation with someone, never tell them, your account information, or who you bank with. Slow the relationship down, ask a lot of questions. Don't send money to people that you just met. So one of the things to do, if you have been attacked by these kind of scams, first thing to do is call the police. The reason why, even if the police is not going to solve the issue, because a lot of times these scammers are outside the country, you can't even pull the money back, but you can utilize that information to help protect yourself going forward. So say they stole money from your account, you can use that police report to go to the financial institution's fraud department and say, hey, I've been defrauded. I filed a police report. I want to find some way to make it whole. Identify, contact the credit bureau agencies. You can put a temporary freeze alert on your account, because once they get your identifying information, they're going to use it to do more damage to your credit, more damage, more loans, all that kind of stuff. So it's important to contact the credit agencies so that you notify them. If it's an older adult, Social Security Administration, everybody's got their Social Security check. You want to make sure that that is not compromised in any way, that they're not changing account, the routing number for where it's going to. So that's really important. What is identity theft? Well, identity theft is a serious crime, of course, we all know. It's when somebody uses your personal information without your permission. And what you see here are identified what the person can steal. Any three combination of what you see here, someone can probably open an account or steal your information. So it's really important that those three things that you see here, all of these things, that we safeguard them, we protect them, because that is the new goal. That is the way that people are selling and commuting right now. So one thing I always say, read your bills. Make sure that the bills are yours, that you opened it. If you get a credit card and you didn't ask for it, contact that credit card company and say, I didn't do this. I didn't open this. You get a report from, motor vehicle or something, and they say you owe money because you parked somewhere. Verify the things that you get, because people are stealing and utilizing it, impersonating you somewhere else in another state. Monitor your accounts. I used to have 5 credit cards. I just have one, and I monitor that one credit card because I couldn't monitor all those things, right? So make sure you keep track of that. Check your mail. Sometimes these scammers are stupid. They open accounts and then they forget to change the address, and they may send you the bill. Always check your mail for things. And all of us get an annual credit report free of charge. Go online, call, get a copy of your credit report, see what's on there, so you can dispute charges if you see that this is not something that you purchased or bought. Really important. I cannot say it enough. Do not give your Social Security number on the phone to anyone for any purpose, right? Never give your information on emails, texts. I always say shred your mail, burn it, have it run down in your garbage disposal. Do not let that, because people can piece information together to rob and steal you. So be careful on what you're doing online, how you pay online. When nowadays you can find free Wi-Fi everywhere, but when you're using an open Wi-Fi, those scammers have great opportunities to get onto and put viruses onto your phone, your tablet, or your computer, laptop. So use secure Wi-Fi or have a VPN for yourself. So limit Bluetooth uses. I know that we all love using Bluetooth. It's so easy and so available, but be mindful of where you use it and how you use it. Other preventive measures. So when you are dealing with someone who says that they are indeed a Wells Fargo, or they are indeed the IRS or some other government agency, nowadays, I'm sure that many of you are seeing that people are using authentication codes, and that is really crucial. So something I always say, you need at least, 2 forms of something, a password, a PIN number, and answer a question, and then something you have on you, which is basically a security key. Wells Fargo, you can actually purchase a security key so that every time Wells Fargo calls you, you can authenticate the caller with a security key. And it's for $25. So you can call Wells Fargo and do that, get a verification code. Something you are, thank goodness for technology. If you have an Apple phone, you can do Face ID, fingerprint, all that stuff. So utilizing 2 forms of authentication when you're dealing with someone who is legitimate. Someone that says that they're legitimate, ask for 2 forms of authentication. So it's really important to help safeguard the protection of your information. What to do when you have our identity has been stolen? First thing I said, you contact the police and file a police report. Even then they say, well, there's nothing we can do about it. I still want a police report, because you need that information to take to your financial institution, fraud area, right? We create an identity theft report, contact the Federal Trade Commission. What happens there? Okay, the Federal Trade Commission is awesome. They are a compilation of all of the different types of fraud that are out there. They store that information. Why is that beneficial? Say you got into some sort of scam where this person, like perfect cryptocurrency, gold exchange, whatever it is, investment scam, whatever, you report that to the Federal Trade Commission with everybody else. If they find out, because these are usually commonality of scams that's going across the US, if they catch that perpetrator, you may be refunded some funds, because then your name will be in the database with the federal government as being scammed by that individual for $500. When they catch them, you can be one of those recipients because you are on the Federal Trade Commission as making a report of being scammed. So that's the importance of reporting to the Federal Trade Commission. Of course, like I said, here are information. Copy down these numbers from the credit report agency so you can make a report. You can contact them to put a freeze on your account, put an alert. There's a difference between an alert and a freeze. When you put a credit freeze, that means you can't take a loan, you can't open a credit card for a period of time, however length of time you told them to put that freeze. An alert will just simply, in that situation, anytime someone tries to open a credit card, they will notify you and say, hey, did you try to open this credit card? Versus a freeze is like no transactions can happen. They put a freeze on your account. So if you're thinking about, well, I'm going to be buying a car, I'm going to, purchasing a loan for something, you probably won't want to put a freeze, but you definitely want to alert the credit report agency of yours. And all three of them, that's their number. Make sure you get an annual report to see what's on your credit, to make sure that those are legitimately yours. What to remember? Words are powerful. So when you're engaging with other people who have been scammed, or is involved in a scam, you don't want to use words that make them feel ashamed and blamed, because quite honestly, these criminals that are working in these tactics, they use fear, they use urgency to act immediately. They are psychological PhDs, okay? Because they seem to know a way to manipulate people to do what they want. I've seen doctors, lawyers, financial advisors, everyone, all age group get involved in these types of scams. And once they get you, I can't even explain how well that these people do. It's like almost those individuals are hooked like a drug addict in these cases. So when people tell you that they're involved in it, don't say, why did you do it? Why did you send money? But better word would be like, how can I help you? Tell me what has happened. Walk me through what happened. Let's go to the police together and make this report. Let me help you through this situation. What support can I give you in this situation? Use those kind of words rather than, why did you do it? You're such a dummy. That's stupid. We don't want to use those words. Know that these scammers usually ask an individual to pay in a specific way. What we've been seeing lately is gift cards. Because why? Because you can't trace a gift card. Once you read the number, you can't trace it. And a lot of times what these scammers do with older adults is they'll call them up on the phone and they'll pretend to be a charity. And the person's like, oh, what a nice person you are, Mrs. So-and-so. Can we be friends? Can I call you sometime to get advice? And the person's like, oh, sure, you can call me anytime. Before you know it, they will invest a year, 6 months into a relationship with someone, gathering facts about those individuals just so they can steal their identity. Nothing real about that. So it's really important for us to be aware of this. These are criminals. They're not like some lone individual living in Arkansas or some lone individual living in Canada. These are, according to the FBI, transnational mafias. They have high rises where they pay people to go in. They have scripts of what to say, phone numbers in front of them, and that's all they do from 8 to 5, and they get paid to scam Americans. So understand, this is bigger than we are. We see one here, one there. No, these are transnational companies outside the US, and their goal is to steal money from Americans, whether it's to use it for illicit acts like buying war and buying guns or whatever, to do whatever they need to in their countries. But understand, this is bigger than we are. So what we can do in the small instance is to educate people around us. So knowledge is power. So here you see a site that I created for about protecting older adults. It goes more detail about the different types of scams to help you educate people around you, to let people know what to be aware of, what to be fearful of, how to protect themselves, how to utilize themselves on the internet as they're doing with their days. Another thing I want to say is here, if you are a Wells Fargo member, customer, here are some ways that you can utilize to protect yourself if you are involved in a scam or know whether it's a checking account, a credit card. Here are key numbers. You can take a screenshot of that. You can go to our secure Secure Center is what it's called, Security Center. And on there has more information about scams and fraud and what you can do and how you can protect yourself, information, videos. There's even a scam test to see how well, after watching this, everyone in this call should be able to pass that scam test on that Security Center, because I've been giving you guys tons of information to make you pass it, equip you to pass that test. But these are information that you can really use to really help you if you get caught in that situation and you are a customer. Additional resources, we have hands-on banking, and hands-on banking does a lot of things within Wells Fargo. It's a great site to utilize. You can use it with elementary school children, high school. After high school, what do you do? It talks about general things about credit cards. What is a credit card? How to use a credit card? Money management. It has retirement information, learning what an investment account looks like. What does those words mean? Security versus, annuity, general banking terms. And also, of course, I have a little section in there about fraud to educate older adults about fraud in retirement. But this is a great site that you can use, and it has information that you can use to teach others. They have videos on there, great resources that you can utilize. Right here, I have a list of different resources that you can go to. I'm sure that Angel will send you a list on a copy of my presentation, but best thing that we can do here is to train each other and to teach others.
Tell you what, I should have told y'all to put your seatbelt on, Professor, because that was.
I know it was a lot of information.
No. I'm looking for the right adjective. That was, whoa. Don't use my credit card. Don't open the mail. Don't pick up the phone if you don't know what you.
I'm sorry, I scared you. I didn't even go into AI. I didn't even go into the amount of AI that's out there right now. 3 seconds, somebody can record your voice. 3 seconds. You say, hello, hi, this is Rodney. They got you. And they have a software that they can put on their computer, costs them $30, and they can utilize that, go on your contact, and make that sound bite that they have 3 seconds and make it say anything they want to your friends and family to scare the tar out of them so that they will send money. So I don't even answer my phone anymore, quite honestly. If you're not like identifiable on my phone, I just delete. Somebody really needs to get a hold of me, they'll leave a voicemail.
And then with that, you even have to balance it through to see if it's a legitimate person that's leaving that message for you.
That is the world that we live in today. That is the world we live in. Can't trust anything.
We've gone through our content in really, really fast order. I can tell you we've already started to see some things pop into the chat. Mr. Thompson, we're going to bring you on in a moment. Again, I'm sticking with Professor because I'm digging it.
Yeah.
You touched on AI. Maybe spend a minute just talking about AI again. You touched on it some there a moment ago, but maybe go a little bit deeper on some of the trends that you've identified. And then what are the tips and the tools that you've been giving folks to say, hey, listen, this is a way to prevent yourself from being susceptible to a scam? Give us a little bit more. AI, artificial intelligence.
AI, artificial intelligence, which is the latest and the greatest, right? It's a tool that we love and hate. But with AI, the fact that they can, like I said, within 3 seconds, capture your voice in a software program that costs a scammer $30, you can buy it on the internet, and be able to trick you. Not only do they identify through social media who your friends are, they will contact your friends and pretend to be you on the phone and say, hey, I'm in jail. I'm in a bad situation. I need a quick, can you Venmo me, $5? And they already start off small. That's the thing with these scammers, because they know that you're questioning, because we all know that we're in this, what we call scammy times. So they know you're going to question it. So they're going to always ask you something small first. And if they got you, then they're like, I can go back and call you again and pretend to be that same friend asking for more money and in dire straits all of a sudden, So it's really important that when we are, conducting business, that we ensure that we have the legitimate contact information for anyone that we conduct business with. So whether it's the bank, whether it's your corporation, your employer, whether it's your doctor's office, your insurance carrier, you need to know the legitimate phone number for those individuals so that if someone calls you with an urgency, because it's always urgent, it's never something, oh, I'll take a few days, or, we're going to send you the bill in the mail or whatever. There is going to be some serious urgency because they're going to work on your emotions to make you act really quickly. So it's really important for you to, one, have the legitimate source to contact. So I have that phone number I can call, or I can go see that person to make sure that they're okay, to legitimize it. And understand whenever someone is trying to do something with a lot of urgency, to slow down, slow down. It's really important because they're trying to get it quickly as soon as possible so that they know. And the method that they use of payment, so if whether it's Zelle, Venmo, they know that that stuff is untraceable, that once you send it, that the police, no one can trace it back, and that money's out the country, because that is where they are. There's these transnational crimes.
Listen, a lot of really, really good information here. Mr. Thompson, I do want to bring you up. Listen, the chat box is jumping. I'm seeing all kinds of questions in here. Job scams, this scam here. Can I use my... We're going to have to unpack all of these. So there's a lot of good ones. And I'm going to ask folks again to continue to drop items in there. Remember our rule. We're not going to read your name, rank, or serial number, but drop those questions in. If it's top of mind for you, it could be top
But
of
what
mind.
I really want to say is,
Please.
I know we're all in technology every day. Like, my world is all about older adults, because unlike, we're young. So we may lose $500. Yeah, it hurts to lose $500, but we can make that $500 back, right? Work 2 jobs if we have to. But if you are 80 years old and all you get is a pension check, and you give it all away because you think that your grandson is in jail and you really want to rescue your grandson, and you sell whatever you have to get your grandson, you cannot recuperate that when you're 80 years old. What, you're going to go back to work? I'm sorry. No, you become a ward of the state. So now before you had a pension and you had Social Security, you were living large. I mean, you got 2 incomes, but you get, all of us are going to have a 401k at some point, and it's going to become a brokerage account. We need to be really savvy about how we conduct business online. So it's really important that not only we educate ourselves, but we make sure our parents, our aunts, our grandparents are aware of how savvy these scammers are, that they're working so hard to steal every ounce that we have, what little pennies we have. They're going to try it. And so they're a lot more susceptible to that than you are, because you're always educating yourself, you're involved, you're engaged, you're here today, right? So that says a lot. So, but maybe others are not. So we need to share that information and educate as many people as possible, because the studies have shown, not that it's 100%. They say if a person has seen a scam or has been educated on a scam, they are 87% less likely. Not 100% less likely to get scammed, but they're 87% as likely. And that's what, we have been told by the Federal Trade Commission. So we try to do as much as we can to train and educate about all the different types of scam, just so that, just to be aware to protect yourself. But the key thing here is to slow down when someone's calling you and that you don't know. Like, I had a call, hey, my puppy was lost in your neighborhood. Some unknown solicited caller. Hi, I lost my puppy, but I don't have time to deal with somebody I don't know. I'm going to delete it. I don't care about your puppy. I'm sorry. So, but maybe an older adult may feel compelled. Oh my gosh, this woman lost her puppy. Maybe she lives in my neighborhood, and they'll have a conversation. Before you know it, they've got him.
Listen, Mr. Thompson.
Yeah. I'm shaking my head. And Rodney, this is awesome. I mean, I'm just, as I'm listening to you, I'm thinking about even basic emails where you click on and, you're screwed sometimes,
Yeah.
You didn't even talk a whole lot about that,
Yeah, but that's a key thing. Unsolicited emails, and sometimes what they do nowadays is so easy. I can screenshot MSN, Google, Amazon, and put it in an email and say, hey, you have an Amazon account. It's there's your Amazon account has been compromised, or you receive this, someone's hacked into your Amazon. Click on this download so we can rectify your account. Don't click on anything that you receive.
Yeah.
Call Amazon yourself. No,
Yeah.
no Amazon's phone contact number, and make sure you call them and ask that you send me this email. That is, it's that's the place that we're in right now, where you have to verify, legitimize everything that you're receiving, because it's so easy for people to manipulate the actual company to make it look like it in emails form or text, even calls. So it's really it's a dangerous world that we live in.
Well, I guess the first question I want to ask you, and as I'm asking this, I want to certainly encourage all of our participants, hey, shoot these questions into the chat box because this is a boatload of information, and I know everybody probably has a lot of the same questions that I have, but what is more difficult, securing the bag or protecting the bag?
What's more difficult, securing or protecting?
Yeah, because it seems like the scariest thing is to protect what you got, right?
Yeah, you got to protect what you got. You got to protect what you got. You do. You got to make sure that you got all the things in place to protect your assets. Meaning and here's the thing, the new gold right now, or the new asset that you can have is your information.
Yeah.
Your that is what they're selling out there in the criminal world, where they call the dark web. That is what they're selling, is people's information. As they get more and more information, they can sell it so that people can impersonate you, like I said, steal your identity. And if your identity gets stolen, that is like the hardest thing to get unwound, because you got to legitimize who you are to the real world, because these fraudsters have identified themselves as you. So the most important thing is securing your information, having protection measures on your phone so that people can't have it, not sharing information with people to the general public, not putting things on social media that you can combination of those 6 things that I gave you earlier, that they cannot piece it together to pretend to be you online. So it is really important to protect your personal information.
What about the credit? Someone raised a question about a lot of people putting a block on the credit. I guess you put a block on your credit when you realize that you've either been hacked
Yes.
or there's a danger
Yes.
right there, a clear and present
Right.
danger.
Yes, exactly. So the difference is, so if you put a freeze on your, or a block on your credit, you can't take out any loans. You
Right.
cannot take out any credit. However, if you put an alert on your credit, that's simply telling them that I believe that I've been scammed, or somebody has some information of mine. Let me know anytime an account has been opened with my information. And they will send you an email. And that you have to do directly with the credit report agencies.
Okay. Yeah, and many of those credit reporting agencies, particularly the big three, they offer all of those to consumers.
Yes,
You know.
the officer. But
Yeah.
I think it's really important too, because maybe you may not know. Everybody gets an annual free credit report.
Right.
You should get one every year and look through it and make sure that everything that's on that credit report is really your information, that credit that you've taken out. Loans that are in your name, that they're legitimately yours. Verify that stuff. And if they're not, you need to dispute it with the credit report agency. You
Yeah.
may not even know what's out there sometimes.
Someone mentioned this also, job scams. My youngest daughter was offered a six-figure job and seemed all legitimate until they went through the HR process and some red flags. And she inquired and found out that that was a scam, and they
Yep.
were simply trying to get her information.
Yep.
And they reported it and went and researched the place in California, and it was not where it was located. And there were people looking for this particular company, and they were on the run, and they were based in China.
Yeah.
And it was a
Yeah.
scam. It was
Well, that's that right now. The biggest young adult scam is jobs. So
yeah,
everybody's like looking for jobs. So they want to work from home. So some of those scams are all not legitimate. So if you are applying for a job, check out, like I said, legitimize everything that you do. Verify, verify. Look up the company. Look if they actually are in the Better Business Bureau. Verify they're an actual corporation. You can do that in the Secretary of State website to verify a corporation is legitimate. Verify with the Better Business Bureau that, check out their background before you apply. Some of the things that they do, they go through all these Indeed websites and put falsified um, falsified ones so that you can apply. So you think you're applying to Wells Fargo and it really isn't Wells Fargo, it's something else. So it's really important for you to verify that kind of information. And if they send you an email, say you think, oh, I think I applied at this, company. They said I can work from home. If all of a sudden the company starts asking you to apply and fill out an application where they're asking you for personal information that is not on a secured website and you can't validate it, they've already put malware into your computer and are going to steal your information. Or if they ask you to pay for additional equipment and that they're going to reimburse you after you become an employee in your paycheck, that is a telltale red sign that that's not legitimate. You shouldn't be purchasing equipment working from home. They're supposed to send all that information to you without you having to send them any money. Anytime there's a money exchange that seems inappropriate, that seems out of whack, especially with corporations and working from home, that is definitely a telltale sign. When they send you an email saying that you have to download an application, click on here and send in information, verify who you are conducting business with. They'll even do things as use AI to have an interview with you on the phone with people who are not even legitimately working for the corporation.
Wow. So their prime target is not is it the younger generation, real young and real old, right?
Anyone.
Okay.
Anyone. Their prime target is anyone who has some money. So they put out feelers. They may send, who knows, 1 million emails, and then whoever responds is what they're gonna get. So they're not particular. They just want individuals with some money. Of course, they're gonna prey on what they know about that person. So like I say, they do with older adults because older adults have time and they know they have money sitting somewhere, or they're getting a paycheck, or not a paycheck, I'm sorry, social security check on a regular basis, or a pension. So they know they're going to have consistent money. So they will invest time and energy because they know that there's money there to be got. So it's really, they're not selective. It's anyone who is willing to take bait.
Okay. Well, let's go back over the 6 points you were talking about, because I want to make sure that everyone has those, and everybody, because I don't see any more questions of importance. And we've got a few more minutes before Dewey comes back on, and I want to make sure that we've got everything answered that anybody might want to consider. This is some great information, important information, and we don't want to get stuck, and say, oh my God, I didn't raise this question. This is so important. Everybody is out there. Most of us think we are savvy enough and it couldn't happen to us. It happened to me this week. Okay. It happened to me with one of my cards. And it just happens to everybody. At some point in time, we've got in our corporate office, we've got software where when you click on it, you've been phished, and we've got this software that tells you, hey, you just flunked this test today, so this is what you should do next time. And I'm so fortunate that we work at a place that we always have these devices that work on our behalf. But I want to make sure that we can go over 1 or 2 more things before we turn this thing back over to Dewey. So can we just, for the reading and going back over is fundamental. Yeah. Can we just go back over some of those important points?
And Mr. Thompson, even as we make that transition, I will say the same thing, right? You got to be careful.
Yeah.
I've been just about to open a note.
Yeah.
You saw through it. Oh, I don't know who this person is.
Right.
So just when in doubt, delete. And our buddy Gary Sims is not on with us today, but he'll be with us for our social media smarts discussion that's coming up in September. So there's a lot of great themes that we're connecting in here as well. Professor, I'm calling you Professor. That's your new name, by the way. I call somebody else Professor. That's the new one. Can you talk about some of the other safety measures that are there? We do have one question or comment that came in around, hey, should I be paying my bills online? Maybe I'm comfortable doing it. Maybe my spouse is not as comfortable. Is it cool to do it? And if so, what are some of the procedures that you need to protect there? And I also want you to go back and revisit that credit piece. You mentioned the annual credit report, and that's a resource that's available. Why is that important to do on an annual basis? So, Mr. Thompson, maybe we'll drop those back in for Rodinei here, as she gets us going on stuff. So touch on those.
Sure. Well, so I think when it comes to the credit report, all of us should be checking it anyway, because we don't know what's on it. Even if you have legitimate bills or, loans on there, you want to make sure those things are accurate and that the amount is accurate and that they're representing accurate information about you, because this impacts what you do with your life and your future. So that's important, and it's free. Things that are free, we should utilize them, so that we can make sure that it's accurate information about us. And then notifying the credit report agency if there's something inaccurate in your credit report, because you need to utilize that information. That number is crucial to everything that you do, whether you're renting an apartment, buying a house, buying a car, whatever it may be. So just making it a habit to get the credit report, annual report, available to you. So and you look through it and making sure that there are legitimate sources that are on there that is doing that. The other thing is, when we are engaging in business with people or speaking to people on a personal level, the combination of the things that I said before that are really important, that identity theft people are looking for, these fraudsters, these criminals, because that's what they are. They're criminals. A combination, your name and your address, that together, that's important. Um, any card numbers, your debit card, your credit card, your bank account numbers. So that if they have your name, your address, and a credit card number, that they can steal your identity right there. Your social security number, crucial number. We don't want to share that. The combination of any three of these things, your phone number, even your utility bill account number. You would think, oh, I pay my Ameren, my light bill or my electric bill or my phone bill. Even that information in a combination with your name and your address and your utility bill is something that they can use to call the utility company to pretend to be you so they can get more information, right? Your medical insurance numbers, that's a really important. So a combination, three of those combinations, a person can use that to steal your identity. So it's really important that we really safeguard that. That, like I like to say, that is the new goal that people are mining for. Meaning that when they're mining, get one here, one there, they get that information here and they peel shit together so that they can really steal as much as they possibly can from you. When it comes to check washing and paying bills, I always say that everyone should pay their bills online to set it up, because if you put your check, like I said earlier, your check has your routing number and your account number. Those two numbers and your name, your address, and probably possibly your phone number. All the numbers, all the information I just told you are in combination, can be stolen by someone. So it's important for us not to utilize paper, because right now what's happening is individuals are stealing mail carriers' keys. They're going into people in the blue boxes that we used to trust to put our mail in and that we thought was protected. Well, they're being robbed now because they're stealing mail couriers' keys and opening them and stealing people's bills. So you think you're paying your bill, but these people are going outside, and they go outside the state and they cash a check. And they have, they wash it, as they call it check washing, but they wash check, put another payment. And of course, the bank will make you whole when you discover these things. But those criminals, they get away with it. They may have taken $500, out of your account, and then you file a report with the police. Always file a report with the police. And then you go back to the bank and say, "Hi, I didn't do this. It's not mine. I didn't cash a check in, Hawaii. I wasn't in Hawaii, or I didn't cash a check, out of the state," so that you can get rectified. So it's best to utilize the security measures within the bank to set up where you're paying all of your stuff online, because at least that way you secured that payment. And if you initiate it from your bank account, so meaning rather than having a bank send the money or having them pull the money, there's a difference between that. If the bank is the one that's sending the payment, you can stop that easily. If they're pulling the money out of your account, that's a lot more difficult, because you got to work it out with that creditor to not do that. So from my perspective, the way that we've always told it of individuals is to set up the auto payment from Wells Fargo. It's protected more so that way. And another one that you might want to also consider is when you are purchasing online, to use a credit card versus your debit card, because a credit card is protected with a special insurance that a debit card is not. So if someone steals from your debit card, because it's cash basically, or if you let someone use your debit card, you've already given them the rights to it. Versus on the credit card have special insurance so that when you are defrauded or scammed or something, there's a greater likelihood of that being reimbursed versus other methods like a debit card. So when you're purchasing online, I always suggest that you use your credit card instead of a debit card.
Great info.
Whew, Mr. Thompson.
Yes, sir.
We got another one that I just sent you a note on that was emailed in for one of our participants. You want to tackle that one, sir?
Is this the one about which countries are the
Yes,
scammers
sir.
based in?
That's the one. That's a real one, isn't it?
That is a real one. That is a real one. So I'm going to tell you, I met with the FBI a couple of months ago. They trained my team on an annual basis, and we had a whole meeting about what's happening. So this is going to, I'm just trying to make it as short as possible because they gave us pictures and everything. Where the majority of the transnational scams are happening now is in the Asia area, Thailand, Malaysia, Myanmar, Thailand area, because during COVID, the mafia in China were not able to run their business. So because people were not meeting in casinos and doing business in that way, so they had to go virtually. And the way that they went virtually is on online scamming. So that is one of the things they're doing. And they have literally buildings where they kidnapped individuals. They lure people from the southern part of Asia saying, hey, we're going to give you a job. It's going to be great. You're going to be able to take care of your family. We're going to fly you out to this place and you'll be able to come home on the weekends. When they go there, they're not permitted to leave. They're basically locked in this area where all they do all day long is scam people. And they do it from sun up to sundown. That's all they do is scam people. In India, that's the second place where a lot of these transnational scams are also, is that they kidnap young individuals. So they'll go to a marketplace and they'll listen to young individuals who are speaking English, and they will kidnap them. And they will tell them, you need to make $20,000 today on American money before we will release you. So these things are happening. So there's two levels of crime happening here. So they're scamming Americans for their wealth, right? For the little money we have. But then they're also scamming or, kidnapping and harming individuals within these countries to do this work. So sometimes some of these scammers become violent when you won't give them money. They start yelling and cussing at you because you won't give them money. That's because they're in a situation where they're in desperation, that this is what they have to do to survive.
Wow.
Yeah, it's they call it the transnational crime of the century right now. But it's really the uptick that happened in the last after 2021 is really they felt that because a lot of the cities had stopped being able to have casinos and having, meetings with the mafia people where they have their dealings, so they had to go online. And so this is what they invest, and they're making way more money online than they were doing in person on their countries, because now they're robbing Americans of their money.
So it's not scheduled to stop anytime soon.
Oh no, this is growing. All the thing, I mean, the one thing that us as Americans to do is to talk about it more. I just recently was able to get a grant. Me and I'm a part of a multidisciplinary team within Missouri, which is social workers, prosecutors, law enforcement, banks, other financial institutions, and we were able to get a grant from the federal government to start the Missouri Elder Justice. And our primary goal is to, create public service announcements about elder abuse and financial abuse and fraud. That is our primary goal. And we're working together to create that and to educate other individuals about fraud and scam. So it is not going to decrease. It's only going to increase because the savviness of these individuals are beyond understanding.
Interesting. Well, what about these types of crimes that are happening here domestically?
The ones that are happening here are more the check washing, where they're stealing mailmen or robbing some mailmen or going into people's mailboxes and stealing their mail and then utilizing those checks and washing them. That's really the big ones that's happening here in the US. Because quite honestly, if it's happening within the US and the person is moving money within Wells Fargo, Bank of America, US Bank, we're eventually going to catch that person. it's going to take some time, but the FBI will catch them. It's the ones that are outside the United States that's the most concerning, because when they're outside the United States, yes, it's China, it's Pakistan, and and India and all those places, but they're also, it's in Ukraine, it's in Pakistan. I mean, it's in, Iran, Iraq, and I mean, these things are happening all over the world, and they're using them to, hate to say it, but to funnel terrorist crimes. They're buying guns and to use funnel to really to do terrorist things.
Yeah.
And we just have access to more funds than they do. So they find ways to steal the money from us to really facilitate these kind of things.
Well, I tell you what,
It's a lot.
we've got some participants who are saying that maybe they need to get their parents on,
Yeah.
because this affects this. I guess this is a multi-generational issue.
It is.
Yeah.
It is. That's what we're discovering.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. It's not simply older adults. I mean, like I said before, older adults lose more money and they can't go back to work. We can lose $500, $1,000, but you got a person who lose their entire savings. That's that you can't recuperate that. Lose their house. We've had people who took in second mortgage on their house to pay scammers. Yeah, it's a bad scene. Commit suicide because they've destituted and
Well,
they're humiliated by
how
what's
often do
happened.
they, what is the success rate of catching the scammers, and what happens to them?
Um, Very unlikely because they're outside the US. Very unlikely. And we cannot recuperate money. It's very rare that it happens. So the latest, the last 4 months, cryptocurrency is really growing. Cryptocurrency exchanges, because it's so not really well regulated. So it's difficult to determine if it's a real exchange that you're working with, and everything is crypto. So that's the latest, and a lot of people want to be involved. I mean, it's the latest thing that's happening, and there are some legitimate sources. You just got to do your due diligence like you would invest in anything else. Validate the person, the individuals, the company. Are they registered? Are they licensed? All the things that you would do if you were investing stock in any other place before you give all your money to them.
Okay. No further questions here, do we? So it's on you, man.
Yeah, Mr. Thompson, I think we've covered things in good order. And I think we've also had a pretty candid discussion, everyone, today. And so in a minute, I'm going to ask Professor Ward to share a closing thought with us to take home relative to things. But please utilize the items that we've dropped into the chat. We've got the links there on the credit protection, the elder fraud protection QR code that we talked about earlier, even some resources around your credit reports. And again, we also dropped in the breakout for all of the Beyond College webinars that are coming up. I'm just going to put those back in the chat again so they're really close here. We're going to continue these kinds of conversations in the days ahead, and we'll talk about these a little bit more as we kind of close things out. Here's what I would say. Please share this information with others. I know that there are others that weren't able to join or had to drop out as a part of today's conversation, maybe to get to work or things along those lines that couldn't stay on. Share this information with them. And remember, our team is in a position where we can customize this content for others. And so just let us know, hey, we're on Beyond College. We now want to do a specialized presentation here, or we want to do another discussion here in other kinds of areas, and we can do those kinds of things. Also, as a reminder, you will be getting a post-event survey with a number of links that Angel Rodinei have put together for us here. So make sure that you're looking through those and share that information. Throw a comment online. Mention the leaders today that have shared good information, and let's find ways to pay it forward. All right, Professor, you got to give them a closing thought. Again, how do you prevent the romance schemes? How do you prevent the texters that are trying to, hey, how are you? Kinds of messages. Give them another closing thought here that folks need to hold on to, and resources that they need to equip themselves against these scammers, please.
Yeah, I'd like to say that last year in 2023, the Attorney General said the greatest health risk that is impacting Americans is isolation and loneliness. Let's think about that. Isolation and loneliness. In the world that we live right now, where we can be in contact with people nonstop, all day, texting, seeing people all day. But isolation and loneliness is an epidemic. So that tells me that with all the new age technology stuff that we have not conquered that. And the scammers know that, you know, the confidence scam slash romance scam, emotional scam is still out there, no matter what age you are. People want to be in contact with people. They want to be in community with people. And so it's important for us to understand and be aware of that, and be aware of those weaknesses that people are experiencing that allows them, that creates the vulnerability in them to get caught up in these kind of scams. And when these individuals are involved and engaged with them, it's really hard to break that relationship because they don't have anyone to fill that void, that loneliness, that isolation. So that is, when it comes to older adults, that's a number one trigger as to one of the vulnerabilities that these individuals are easily able to prey on. So when you think about your mom, your dad, your grandpa, your aunt and uncle, give them a call, say hi, chat with them. You may want to only speak 5 minutes and last for an hour. Thank you for giving them that hour of your time to share what's going on with you, what's going with other people. Next week, June 19th, Juneteenth. So making a point to talk to your family, talk to your members, enjoy that day.
Wow. All right. So can folks get in contact with you if they have questions? What's the most appropriate way for them to engage with you?
You can contact me through LinkedIn. I'm avidly in there posting stuff. So you guys can call me in LinkedIn.
How did you get involved in this work? I'd be really interested. How'd you get involved?
It's really it's kind of funny. I fell into it. So I went to school. I was a French lit major.
What?
Yeah, French lit major. Wanted to go and live in Europe or Africa, wherever. And then I got married. And I was challenged with trying to decide, did I want to go to law school or not, right? I was thinking about going to law school. My best friend, I have two best friends who are ahead of me in age. They were lawyers, two black women. They were lawyers and they were ahead of me by 2 years. And they hated being attorneys. But I was living in Los Angeles at the time. We all went to UCLA. They had Los Angeles, UCLA debt to pay. So they couldn't stop. They just had to work these crazy hours. And they're like, I've got 10 years and I can not be a lawyer, but I have to pay off this debt because of, how expensive it was. And so when I decided I said, well, I think I might go to law school. I love, and they're like, what is it do you like about law? What is it do you want to be a lawyer? I said, I like research and I like writing. They're like, well, you can be a paralegal. So I went to school. That was the best $6,000 of my life. Okay. So I went to UCLA. I was already at UCLA, went to paralegal school, got my certificate, and I was making really good money being a paralegal and doing things that I like. I had opportunities to work in all different areas because once you're a paralegal, unlike an attorney, you're stuck in one type of work. So if you're a corporate attorney, you can only do corporate. If you're a litigation attorney, you can only do litigation. If you're a civil attorney, you can only do civil attorney. But when you're a paralegal, you can do anything because all I do is research and write. I would research cases, summarize cases, prepare cases for courts, prepare cases for corporations, right? So I love doing that. And that's what I did. And then my husband and I decided to move to Virginia for better opportunities because Los Angeles is just too sticking expensive to live and raise children. And my brothers lived in Virginia. And so an opportunity presented itself to work for Wells Fargo's legal department. I was like, yeah, I'll do that. And there I met Ron Long, my mentor.
Listen, that's the name I was waiting to hear.
I met Ron Long, and he was an attorney, one of the attorneys, regulatory attorneys there, and he and I became friends. And I was working there as a paralegal doing all the states, corporate stuff, trust stuff, all that stuff. I was creating, writing them, and reviewing them. And we started getting more and more cases about financial exploitation. And what do we do? What do we do? More older adults were getting financially exploited. And quite honestly, it's about the number one perpetrator of financial exploitation for older adults is their family.
Say that again.
Wow.
Say
Yeah.
that again.
Yeah. It's like 87%. Or no, I think it was like 92%. That's what it was. 92% is family members, children, grandkids, aunt, your family is the number one perpetrator of financial exploitation. So Ron and I were working, and I go to Ron, what do I do? Ron, what do we do? What do we do? And so at that time, he's like, well, let's read the laws, what's required of a financial institution. So I did a 50-state survey, because that's what I do as a paralegal. I do all the research and reading and summarizing it. Came back and said, we're mandated reporters. We haven't been doing that. He was like, we got to change, create policy, create processes, create things. And lo and behold, 10 years later, here we are with my team, and I'm the director of it. So he totally supported me, groomed me, helped me to get to where I am today. Took me higher. Like I never saw myself doing what I do today, like talking in front of people, about this, specialized. And then I went back to school after my kids graduated. My kids went to college. I was like, yay! I love being an empty nester. Woo-hoo! So my kids went to college. I went to college, and I got my master's degree in gerontology.
Come on.
And that is the study of aging. So I went back to school because this is my life and this is my passion. And I wanted to be the expert of it. So I went back to school and got a master's degree in gerontology, which is basically the study of aging. And I utilized that to talk about aging, how it's changing, and preparing others for aging in the company, in the financial institution, when they're engaging with their clients about diminished capacity, other family issues. I help them work through those kind of challenges. And I train the people on my team to do the same.
Ladies and
That's a
gentlemen,
lot.
listen, that is Rod the Day War. Let's give it up. Feel free to come on camera, y'all, because that was just it.
So don't be surprised where you will land. You think today, oh man, this is what I'm going to do for the rest of my life. You may come across, life will happen. And when those doors open, you got to walk through them. That's what I got to say.
We love it. We love it. All right. You're getting mad kudos in the chat, by the way. I know you can't see them on your side, but everybody's like high five, impressive, great job. Oh, just kudos across. Ron Long would be proud of you. He wouldn't be proud of me, but he'll be proud of you. All right.
Yep.
Well, team, listen, we're going to pivot over now. We've got our closing thoughts taken care of, and we've got just some last items and some reminders that we'll touch on, and we'll get everybody out of here maybe a couple of minutes early tonight, which is, I'm sure, appreciated. So, hey, the summer is here. Mr. Thompson mentioned it earlier. We are now past the halfway point, right? We're tracking towards our next session. So don't forget, jump onto the MEAC Digital Network. Do a fast Google search for that. MEAC Digital Network. Boom, it's going to bring you right to the page where you can access the playback of our sessions that have been delivered so far. Give Randy and the team, a couple of days, maybe a week or so, week and a half, and then we'll have today's broadcast out there as well. And hashtag pay it forward, share with others. We got the goal, team, July 25th, 3,000. I love you, 3,000. We need 3,000 people registered for that webinar. We've got a little ways to go to get to that number, but I believe we can do it. Everybody needs to come hear about career opportunities, internships, whether you're graduating or you're a freshman or a sophomore, or even our high schoolers that are on. You can start learning about pathways there. August 22, all about paying for college. You'll hear from Casey Galindo. You'll hear from Sylvia Jones and other partners from our finance edition of how to pay for college as we head back to campus. Social media smarts and cybersecurity. We're going to have G back. We're going to have other partners that will be coming in and presenting as a part of this. Dr. Nobles, I think, will be back with us. I hope that we'll be able to get Sam Adams back, a member of his team. And again, if you enjoyed today, make sure you come down. Folks on that broadcast, they're like, Mr. Thompson, I'm giving my computer away. I want no more computer. After Gary finishes with that broadcast and the Dr. Nobles and Sam, they're like, I don't want technology anymore. But come join us for that discussion. October, Get Smart About Credit Month. We're going to unpack credit matters that matter. Get involved with us here and learn and start applying those pieces. And last but not least, we'll be back with Iwana K. Brady and Chuck Bishop and their team for a discussion around your pathway to home ownership, a really, really important topic. So those are what's coming up. We dropped them into the chat. Go ahead and get connected in on any of those sessions where you can and come and join us as your schedules permit. Hey, don't want to touch on our good friends over there at the A Different World Tour. So huge shout out to Daryl Bell and to the entire cast. The tour is coming back. Can't tell you where yet, but if you go to the website, you're going to be able to get a few more details. And if you are interested in bringing this amazing tour to your campus, please fill out that information form. Certainly mention that you heard it from the Wells Fargo team or the team over at Cisco. And then in turn, let's work towards getting this amazing tour on your campus. And there's more details coming about some exciting pieces there. Last but not least, I'm going to start on the right side today. That LifeSync app is a really good resource for you to jump onto as you're starting to build a financial future and focusing on your long-term financial goals and plans. So jump out there, get a profile built, be able to learn more. From the talent community perspective, we talked about it. In July, we've got our webinar coming up with talent. Get with Leroy, get with Calvin, get with Ruth, get with their entire team, Ayana and the others that are there. Get connected into the talent community. Tell us the areas that are of interest to you and make sure you're getting connected in on these internships and also on the full-time roles that are right around the corner. Last but not least, and I really hope folks can take this away, you got to have people that you can trust. You've got to be able to raise your hand and ask the tough questions. I believe every day that you can find that with leaders like Radine and other partners that are coming in. So use that QR code to scan and create an appointment with a banker in your local market or region. Those things can happen over the telephone, or you can physically go sit down with someone directly to be able to get connected in. With that said, just appreciative of everyone being on the lines here with us for today. I hope that you're leaving empowered with some really, really good information. Don't forget to join us again on July the 25th. We're going to internships. We're talking about full-time career opportunities and building your pathway along those areas. Want to thank our amazing partners and presenters, both on the front end and the back end. You heard Randy mention, you heard Dominique mentioned earlier. Obviously, Mr. Thompson for his flawless delivery. Angel Heyman is in the background. And then again, the professor, Rhonda Ward. I just like calling her professor now, but she was just delivering all of those things.
I don't think I've ever had anyone call me the professor.
Listen,
That's funny.
It is a term of endearment in the sense of
I hear
that. And she's bad like that.
I hear it.
Congratulations on the great things that you're doing. Please keep fighting on the front lines. I know you're at the conference there this week. Keep fighting on the front lines. And my hope is that we can bring you back for another presentation to continue to unpack these pieces for folks.
Sure.
Everybody have a wonderful rest of your night. Enjoy the rest of your summer. Be safe. Let's stay focused. We look forward to seeing everybody in a couple of weeks. July 25, internships and career opportunities. Till then, everybody, good night.